What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 31 of the Elephant Wire Podcast, the show where we break down song lyrics and don't play you a damn second of the song because major labels are thieving babies. They would sue us up the ass. This week's episode, we're going to be dissecting the song Unconsolable by Ex-Ambassadors. Let's get some.
Welcome to the Elephant Wire Podcast. Music. Drugs. Laughter. Lyrics.
What's good, everybody? Jake here. I am ready and raring. Well, okay, maybe I'm not raring, but I'm ready. I'm as prepared as I can be to get into this episode. I've been a big fan of this song for a long time, and then I started to delve more into the band, and I'm a big fan. They're good. They do some good shit. They're very, very talented. And as we start going through their story, they had a very interesting come-up. So it just goes to show how much hard work and a little bit of luck and a little more luck and a whole bunch more luck can actually affect your music career. No, they're plenty skillful. They earned it. They deserve it. But they were pretty lucky in a manner of speaking. But anyway, Ex-Ambassadors, three-piece rock band from Ithaca, New York. We got vocalist, guitarist, and saxophonist Sam Harris. We have keyboardist and sometimes some backup vocals, Casey Harris, and then we have drummer Adam Levin. Sam and Casey are actually brothers. They grew up together in Ithaca, New York. Fun fact about Casey. Well, okay, fun fact is not the way I should be saying that. Fact about Casey, he has actually been blind since birth, the keyboardist of Ex-Ambassadors. He was born with a genetic disease called senior Loken syndrome, which affects your kidneys and your retinas. And I asked my wife, who is a baller nurse, I said, do you know anything about senior Loken syndrome? She's like, no, I've never heard of it. And I was like, oh, apparently it affects your kidneys and your retinas. And she said, yeah, if you have kidney issues, you're probably going to go blind. Which, like, oh, fantastic. That's good to know. But on the other side of that, when I first started getting into Ex-Ambassadors and like doing a little bit of research, this was a few years ago now. I remember pulling up a live video, and they were playing some radio station or something like that, live set. And the room was really dark, and there were like just candles lit. And when the video first started, and I had no idea what was going on with Ex-Ambassadors or who they are or anything about them, they pan over to the keyboardist, Casey, and he's wearing sunglasses, and I thought to myself, oh boy, we got a cool guy here. And all it took was about one scroll down to the comments, and someone else had made the same mistake I had. However, they went ahead and posted it in a comment on YouTube and got verbally berated by the people, as we should have. I'm putting myself in that category. I had no idea the man was blind. I was just like, ooh, we got a cool guy wearing sunglasses inside. No, he's fucking blind. So sunglasses, no sunglasses. That room was going to be the same amount of light as far as he was concerned. So I felt like a pretty big piece of shit whenever I first started delving into Ex-Ambassadors. But now that I know, he's obviously done very well for himself, very self-sufficient. So it's just kind of an interesting little fact about the band. But I found a quote by Sam, their lead singer and kind of the front man of the band. I found a quote by him as far as their name, Ex-Ambassadors. His quote was, "The meaning behind our band Ex-Ambassadors is absolutely no meaning behind it, other than we thought ambassadors sounded cool, and then we had to put an X in front of it for legal reasons," which we'll get a little bit more into here in a minute as we start going through their story of how they came up. But yeah, Ex-Ambassadors means absolutely jack shit. It's just a band name. How about that? The band started kind of getting some steam behind them right after their song Litost, or Litost. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. Litost, something like that. A song from their first EP. was used in an episode of One Tree Hill. Okay? And, people all over the place. You can go, I don't know where you watch One Tree Hill now, but their song was used in an episode of One Tree Hill. And from that episode, a fashion designer by the name of Jacques Van Eyck, he heard it on the show and he thought, oh, that's a good song. So he put it on a Spotify playlist. Now, after putting it on his Spotify playlist, then a radio station in Norfolk, Virginia, found it on his playlist as they were doing a little bit of music discovery, and they started playing the song. And all this is happening all while, at that time, Ambassadors has no record deal. They're just doing everything they can, and they end up having the top song on 96X. It's a radio station coming out of Norfolk, Virginia. Now that crazy, just ends up on One Tree Hill, then it ends up on some fashion designer Spotify playlist. Now it's at the top of the chart on a radio station. Now here's where it gets really lucky. Because up to now, I mean, like I said, they're very talented. It's a fantastic song off of their first EP. The group, the group of guys, at that time it was also 4 of them. There's a member of the band that's now on kind of a, let's just say, hiatus. He got himself into a little bit of trouble, and so the band said, why don't you go figure your shit out? And it's been a while since that happened, so it kind of seems more and more like it's just a 3-piece band now. But Ambassadors at the time was actually, in a manner of speaking, of all that said and done, was actually discovered by Dan Reynolds, who was the lead singer of Imagine Dragons. He was actually in the hospital in Norfolk, Virginia, and he had the radio on, and he heard, at that time, Ambassadors play an acoustic version of that song Litost on 96X, and he immediately got on the phone with their record label Interscope and was like, you need to sign these guys as soon as possible. And here we are today, and signing that record deal, and if officially signing that deal, the only thing that really changed for them right off the bat was their name. They no longer could be called Ambassadors. They had to be called Ex-Ambassadors, which is kind of funny, thinking that like they used to be that band, now they're this band, but it's actually the same band. And it's very interesting. But I thought that come up story was really cool. Like I said, it takes hard work and it takes tuning your craft and knowing what you're doing and being good at it, but a little bit of luck in the right place at the right time doesn't hurt. Does not hurt at all. But the song we're talking about today, Unconsolable, it actually comes off of their album Love Songs, Drug Songs, which was released in 2013. They were, there is, like, the song Litost was going to be on that album. It was all very confusing, but it ended up being their very first EP. Was Love Songs, Drug Songs. I didn't want to really delve a whole lot into the album. It's a fantastic album front to back. If you want to listen to it, I wanted to more get into the song that we're talking about today. 12.6 million plays on Spotify. It's coming in at 3 minutes 36 seconds. It's a glorious song with great layering. That's one thing. I was actually talking to a guy the other day about songwriting, and we were just having a nice light, playful conversation about songwriting and different things. But we were both very much on the same page that one of the most important things about songwriting in general is layering and knowing how to layer a song. And this is a song that actually comes to mind whenever I think of layering and build, like rise and fall and build and all of those different parameters that come into songwriting. Because, obviously on this podcast, we focus significantly more on the lyrics of songwriting. And that's, that's just because that's our niche. That's what we do. However, whenever we start, really delving into just the songwriting conversation in general, this is a very good song that I would say has, another one that comes to mind is, oh, God damn it, I just forgot who, whatever. I'm getting all off track, but the fact of the matter is, as this song is played, and one thing I want to take note here is if you go on YouTube and you pull up, just Unconsolable live, you watch 5 different videos of them playing this song. whether it's at Lollapalooza, whether it's at a radio station, whether, like, no matter where it is, you will see 5 completely different versions of this song. Now, they've been playing it for a while. You know, this album came out in 2013. It's been a minute that they've been playing this song. They're going, what are we at, 8 years, something like that? It's been a minute. But that being said, you know, this is track 1 of 6 on the album. And like I said, if you go on YouTube, there'll be one version where they're playing it a lot heavier. There'll be one version where it's a lot lighter. However, it almost seems like the venue that they're playing the song really doesn't change. You know what I mean? It just has everything to do with how they're translating the song at the time. And I absolutely love it. Sometimes Sam will whip out his saxophone. Sometimes he'll just have an extra floor tom that he's also playing. Or there's tons of different ways that they go about this song, but it is absolutely incredible. The way that the percussion is so simple. And then the drums build throughout the song. It stays very consistent. You know, in the verse we have keys that come in that layer on top of those drums that are very playful as well. However, Casey's keys in the background are just holding it down incredibly. It reminds me a lot of like Alt J in a way, of the keys almost being the bass. I don't know. I didn't really have a whole lot that I wanted to delve into. Like I said, I mean, I'm just excited to get into these lyrics. Let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's just dive in there. Let's get some. I hope we stay thick as thieves, butter and bread, pillars of colonial homes. And I wish I could shout you out. False start. Don't get your cane caught in the cracks. Buckle your seatbelts, polluting the airwaves. Single and lonely. And you said you are unconsolable. You said you are unconsolable, uncontrollable. And come up to my house. Drink with my friends. You can lay on my couch, aching to start all over again. And we go back to your room. But wait a minute, it's my room. Was this something I said? And you said you are unconsolable. You said you are unconsolable, uncontrollable. And come up to my house, drink with my friends. You can lay on my couch, aching to start all over again. And we going back to your room. But wait a minute, it's my room. You're throwing up on my bed? Was it something I said? Right on. Let's start diving into these. Before we do, though, I got a quote by Sam, the front man from Ex-Ambassadors. He was talking to Rolling Stone at one point, and he said, "It's about all the stupid things we used to get into as kids. Noah, Casey, and I," which, remember earlier I said there was a fourth member. His name was Noah. He's no longer in the band, but they grew up with him. Noah, Casey, and I grew up in a small town in upstate New York. There were these beautiful old colonial houses that a lot of kids moved into after high school. They'd turn them into these awful, dilapidated party houses. We'd go there and completely destroy them. I always dreamed of getting out, of finally leaving town. And when I did, I was sad. I missed those houses and all the people back there. Fair enough, man. My favorite apartment that I've ever had was a 400 square foot studio apartment. And while I lived there, I was like, I can't wait to get into like a real place. But I miss that place every single day. That place was awesome. Because if I invited like 10 people over, it felt like a fucking rager in there. God, I miss that apartment. Aurora, Illinois is where that apartment was. Which, one of the best TV shows of all time is from Aurora, Illinois. If you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, look it up. Party on, Wayne. Okay, all right, let's get into these. I hope we stay thick as thieves, butter and bread. The fact that he says stay implies that they're at a point that, well, they're very tight. You know, he's still tight with everybody that he grew up with. I hope we stay thick as thieves. And like he was just saying in that quote, you know, that I'm sure that there were 3 or 4 different houses that, you know, he knew kids that owned in the area. And that crew would kind of, more than likely, just kind of bounce from house to house on those weekends. And he even says pillars of colonial homes. He's referencing the homes they're talking about. And if you've ever been out on the East Coast, or you live on the East Coast, and you've seen these old colonial homes that he's talking about, the columns out front of these houses are fucking legit. They're huge. And his reference to their strength and their ability to stand the test of time, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about their friendships. Being able to stand the test of time and being able to just go for eons and eons of generations and just continue on. And he follows that up with, and I wish I could shout you out. False start. Now, it's an interesting way to follow up the shout out reference by saying false start, because false start is usually, you know, like if we just look up false start, you know, there's a cut like in football, a false start, or, you know, pretty much any way that you're going about it, any sport or whatever you're doing. A false start pretty much implies, you know, beginning the race or beginning the play or beginning something before the official signal has been given. And so that's why it's interesting that he uses false start here, because he says, and I wish I could shout you out, false start. Because maybe at one point he was going to shout them out, and then he realized, I might actually need some, I might actually need them to say it's okay first. Kind of funny. But he says next, don't get your cane caught in the cracks. This actually sounds like one of those, this is obviously some old man shit. And even more so, a specific old man, because I've never heard someone in my life say, don't get your cane caught in the cracks. You know, we all have that one family member that growing up, we thought that, you know, all the sayings that they had, you know, we thought like, oh, like that would just mean something that old people say. And then as we got older, and then we say it one time, and everyone in the room's like, the fuck did you just say? Like, yeah, it's a thing people say. Like, no, it's not. Your uncle said that, and he's the only person that said that. This, don't get your cane caught in the cracks. If you've heard that one before, fantastic. I would be more than happy to be way off base on this one. But that's exactly what it sounds like to me. It sounds like he had a family member or a friend or someone like that in his community growing up that said this, and now he's using it. It's very funny. He says next, buckle your seatbelts, polluting the airwaves. Now he's referencing, like, our band is going places. You know, like, hang on tight, because we're about to be all over the radio. And he wasn't wrong. They absolutely are. However, that last line, single and lonely. Now this is where I think he's now referencing that he always dreamed of getting out, and then whenever he finally did, he missed everything that he left. And that's, how could you not? I mean, like I was just saying about that apartment that I lived in Aurora, Illinois, which, if you haven't figured out, the home of Wayne's World is Aurora, Illinois. Getting out of that house, it was kind of like then going to a place where you got all this room and all this land, and, you know, the house my wife and I live in now, we're on, I don't know, 4 or 5 acres, something like that. You know, we'll invite over 12 people, and I don't know, it feels kind of like there's some people over. It is what it is. I don't mean to say it like that, but this is kind of what he's referencing. And then we get into the chorus, and you said you are unconsolable. Now, what's really funny, unconsolable is actually not a word. Inconsolable is. Consolable, or to console, those are all words, but unconsolable, it's not necessarily a word. Everyone will know what you're saying. For sure, because, you know, the difference, like if we look up the definition of to console, it's to alleviate or lessen grief, sorrow, or disappointment, you know, to give someone solace or comfort. So to console someone, you comfort them, but if you are unconsolable, you cannot even be comforted. And so he's referencing someone either at a party or after leaving this life and trying to just grow the fuck up, someone saying that they are unconsolable. And then he ends the chorus by saying uncontrollable, which is funny because, you know, like I said, unconsolable is not a word. Uncontrollable is very much so a word. Think of a toddler having a tirade. That's uncontrollable. And then we get into verse 2. Come up to my house, drink with my friends. At just face value, just like those first 2 lines, it sounds a little bit less like an invite and more of just like a humble brag. Like, oh, well, yeah, you should come to my house and drink with my friends. Then you'll know what's up. And then we get into the second couple lines. You can lay on my couch aching to start all over again. Like, oh, okay, that was actually an invite. Okay, fair enough. Kind of that someone, running into someone you haven't seen for a long time in public and then being like, we should get together soon. Like, oh, yeah, for sure. And both parties at the same time know that, yeah, we're not going to get together. But it was nice to see you. And then in that same, kind of example, someone saying, oh, we should get together soon. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. How about this weekend? Like, you can lay on my couch. We have a place for you to crash. Like, oh shit, this is actually an invite now. And he says, he continues on, he says, we're going back to your room. But wait a minute, it's my room. This reference is fucking hilarious because, one of the things that I want to reference here is these old giant colonial houses. One of the funniest headlines I've seen recently is that millennials are killing the large house market. We're killing it, millennials. We just the large house market is just going down the tubes because millennials just don't want to live in these giant, over the top, disgustingly huge, too many bedrooms, too many bathrooms, can't heat the thing, can't cool the thing, too much to clean, too much to take care of. You guys are just killing that market. Well, I'll tell you what, fucking boomers. I don't give a shit if you can sell your house for an appropriate price or not. I really don't. Because you know what I want? I want 2 bedrooms on land and a van that I can just travel around. That's what I want. So, okay, rant over. We're going back to your room, but wait a minute, it's my room. I instantly thought of that he was talking about these kids buying up these houses that nobody was living in and they're kind of dilapidated. And there's probably like 6 bedrooms, something like that. So everyone comes over and like, oh, I'll take this room. But as the night goes on, you get a few in the bag. All of a sudden, everyone starts forgetting whose room is whose. And he ends that second verse by saying, was it something I said? And that just makes me think of, being at a party and, you meet somebody, whether it's a pretty girl or a handsome boy or whoever it is. And, things are moving along and you think they're going well. But as the more and more liquor you get in you, maybe all of a sudden things aren't going as well as they were. Was it something I said? But what happened? I totally thought I was going to be hooking up tonight in one of those 19 bedrooms. Well, we go into another chorus now. And you say you are unconsolable. Now, we didn't really get a whole lot into it in the first chorus that we were going through, but like he was saying whenever he was talking about this song in general, he was talking about like a brotherly bond and like all of his boys getting together and partying at a house, a big group of friends, constantly being together and partying and having a good time. By saying, and you say you are unconsolable and then ending it with uncontrollable. When he's referencing that, it really makes me wonder if this is less of a relationship conversation or even a friendship conversation. That this is the boys just getting together and hashing some shit out. Just being a good friend when you need to be. Hearing someone say, I am unconsolable, but still not going anywhere and doing your absolute damnedest to be consoling. And then we have, it's basically the second verse again. We can call it verse 3 because there is a little difference. It's the same thing. Come up to my house, drink with my friends. You can lay on my couch, aching to start all over again. Maybe, we didn't really reference that the first time going through verse 2 either, aching to start all over again. It really just makes me think of, someone that maybe had left town at one point and then came back to visit and really just like things just aren't going the way that they assumed that they would be, whenever they left town. And wishing that they could just like get another shot at it, get another try when they come up to these old colonial houses and party, just wishing that they could try it again. Things just weren't going well. But here's where we have the difference. We go back to your room. Wait a minute, it's my room. Throwing up on my bed. And it adds a little humor to it. The first time it was just a little bit of confusion of like, wait, is this your? No, this was. Hang on, whose room did we claim? What's going on here? Throwing up on my bed. Now, he could be referencing a very specific story, Sam talking about growing up with Casey. He could be talking about, when they were little boys and something that happened. Or he could be talking about one of these parties. Whatever it is, it's fucking funny. Throwing up on my bed. Because the mental image of, going to put someone like, oh, which room are you staying in? Okay, yeah, let's go put you to bed. You've had too much to drink. And then as you're laying them down and you realize they're about to get sick, you're like, wait a minute. This was my bed. Ah, fuck. Well, the song ends out, we repeat the first verse again, another chorus. Like I was saying, whenever we were talking about this at the very beginning, the way that this song is layered and the way we go about layering, the way that they went about layering this song, it almost doesn't even feel like things are repeating. It adds consistency. But as the song is being layered and as new instruments are added or certain riffs or lines or drum patterns are played just subtly differently to add another element to them, the consistency of the lyrics only just makes this song even better. As just some final thoughts from this song, I mean, this song is about the people that we have around us that we really can't see life being the same without them. In our pledge to be there through good and bad. And I love that. I absolutely love that. I got plenty of boys that I hope are with me from thick and thin, the pillars of colonial homes, butter and bread. I love that shit. Because I got plenty of boys around me and plenty of girls and friends and all these people that I have around me I hope are around forever. But it's now time for the local band spotlight. And this week we have the Washups. What's up, the Washups? Washups put out a new album on June 11th, encompassing a revolutionary new sound and style to the rock music scene. Fucking A. They are a group from Atlantic City, New Jersey. Again, we got a Jersey band. A lot of good music comes out of New Jersey. I like that. We're a group from Atlantic City, New Jersey, working to bring a name to the DIY music community that is so important to Atlantic City. They are classified as basement rock and are a mix of progressive rock, punk, and a few other genres to create their unique sound. Fucking A, Washups. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being the local band spotlight this week. We're going to add one of your songs to our running Spotify playlist, Local Bands That Don't Suck. We're going to be posting about them all week, so keep an eye out for them. Plenty of links and plenty of information about those guys. Support local music, friends. Like I said, this was a bit of a shorter episode today, and that's fine. We do that from time to time. We don't have to be super long-winded every single week. But we'll be back next week, next Monday, episode 32, having a good time. In the meantime, if you like what we do here at the Elephant Wire Podcast, you can support us by going to anchor.fm/the Elephant Wire Podcast. And you can support us monthly there. You can go to our website, theelephantwire.com, and you can pick up some merch. You can throw us a one-time gift. But most importantly, the best way that you can support this Elephant Wire podcast is by telling your friends, telling your family, tell your neighbor, tell your boss, tell your uncle, tell your dog, tell anybody that you can. Hey, I got this music podcast. I think you'd be a fan. That is by far the number one way that you can support the Elephant Wire podcast. Another way that's absolutely free, throw us a review. Throw us some 5 stars somewhere. That would be super, super dope. But thank you so much for listening this week. We will be back next Monday with another episode. I'm not entirely sure what it will be because there's a couple things in the mix. I'm working out some details. But tune in. It'll be a good time. Until then, fuck the man. Hail Satan. Hug your mom. We'll catch you guys next week. Peace.